In the early days of my private practice, realizing you've got to pay CRA $24,000 by the end of April. When you take time off, the bills do not stop. Hi there, I'm Ashley Phillips, and I've been a clinical counselor for over 10 years. I founded the Kelowna EMDR Clinic because honestly, my own private practice experience had a lot to be desired. And as people say, mileage may vary, but here are the 7 reasons why you may hate working in private practice and what I've done to help fix those issues. Reason number 1 that you may hate working in private practice: loneliness. When you're in private practice, you are alone, and you are alone a lot. And if you work from home or rent an office, your only human interactions may be with just your clients. And even if you work in a shared office environment, it may not be that much better. Before I started my clinic, I worked in communal space where there's about 8 other individual offices. There was a mix of therapists, psychologists, and RMTs, which was amazing, but they were all doing their own thing. And even though they were technically, we were all surrounded with each other, everyone was on their own schedules, working different days, breaks at different times, so sometimes the interactions were pretty infrequent. At my clinic, we often have lunches together and we organize random events, whether it's at the office or out and about. Some are for fun and some are for learning, but the goal is to bond and just build some social connection. If social connection is really important for you, you want to look at working in maybe in a group practice instead of by yourself. This brings me to reason number 2 why you may hate working in private practice: the lack of clinical support. Even when you do share a space with other therapists, it doesn't always mean you have clinical support. People are in different specialties, using different modalities, so when I had a really challenging case, there often wasn't somebody that I could go to. And when I had a question, I had to spend money on clinical consultation. And I'm the person I like to get immediate answers just by talking with someone, even in a 5-minute hash out. So consider with whom you're going to be working alongside with when you're looking at your locations for your private practice. At the Kelowna EMDR Clinic, we're all trauma-informed therapists, so we all speak the same language. We can ask each other questions, share ideas, and genuinely help each other grow as clinicians. Okay, reason number 3 why you may hate working in private practice: working in a non-therapeutic environment. A lot of therapists end up renting generic office spaces in a generic office building, and these offices were designed perhaps for accountants, not therapists. And the biggest issue is sound transfer and lack of privacy. If your client can hear someone talking in the hallway or in the office next door, they're going to know that everybody can hear them too. And that, on an unconscious level, is deeply dysregulating. Throw in the harsh lights, perhaps no windows at all, and you've got a setup that works against the therapeutic process. Please definitely consider the environment where you intend to bring your clients to increase the likelihood that they're going to have a good healing experience. That's why the design of the Kelowna EMDR Clinic is trauma-informed. Every office is designed to calm and regulate the client's nervous system. Every office has big, beautiful windows, and every office is soundproofed, so the conversations that are meant to be private and confidential remain private and confidential. Reason number 4 why you may hate private practice: having to wear too many hats. One thing I find over and over again is that people truly don't realize what it means to run a private practice. It's not that much different from running any other service business. You have to market and promote yourself online and offline. You've got to tackle all the business licensing and insurance. You've got to replace and update things when they break. You have to do all the admin side of things and all the emails, and you've got to deal with the insurance companies, benefit plans, and people who haven't paid their bills. You've got to do your bookkeeping and file your taxes on time. And heck, often here we've had to reset our internet router when the Wi-Fi has gone down. Know yourself well enough to know where you thrive and where you struggle when it comes to the administrative side of things. Faster growth happens when you embrace what you struggle with instead of working against it. Some people are really great at all this stuff. I wasn't. I'm still not. And I know a lot of therapists who struggle with all the business side of things. At my clinic, I've hired people to handle most of the day-to-day stuff so that our therapists and myself, we can focus on what we do best: therapy. Now, I'm curious, if you're a therapist in private practice, how did you like wearing all the different hats? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious. On to reason number 5 why you may hate private practice: income instability and variability. As a therapist, you only make money when you see clients and they pay you. And unless you are experienced and very well known in your community, there's a good chance that you're not going to be full, especially when you are first starting out. In the early days of my private practice, I had weeks where I barely had enough money to kind of cover my costs, and I'll be honest, that was pretty darn stressful. If instead you have a traditional job, this is something you're not going to have to deal with. You'll get stable, regular paychecks, and that's why it's so important to know yourself and how important financial stability is for you in reducing stress in your life. At the Kelowna EMDR Clinic, we mitigated this income instability through our marketing efforts and a general presence in our community, which keeps our phone ringing and allows our clinicians to stay busy. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. Reason number 6 why you may hate working in private practice. The bills are there whether you work or not. When you're in private practice, you will have regular bills that you have to pay: rent, internet, phone, all that stuff. When you take time off, the bills do not stop. So yes, you can take 2 months off and go to Thailand, but you're still going to have your regular expenses. And making things worse, when you go on vacation, you likely are spending more money than usual and you're not earning anything. And this is why planning and budgeting is so critically important. Unfortunately, most people are kind of bad at this. And if you're like most people, you may find it challenging and extra stressful to actually take time off. At my clinic, we don't force budgeting onto our clinicians, but we definitely talk about it so they are at least not caught off guard. I have found having automatic money transferred into a savings account every single week critical to not being stressed out about paying the bills. I've also done a video on estimating your earnings in private practice, and I'm going to link it below. Finally, reason number 7 why you may hate private practice: taxes. As they say, there are 2 things that are certain in life: death and taxes. And you have to pay taxes whether you are an employee or whether you're in private practice. But what makes private practice different is that taxes are not automatically deducted from your pay. Okay, so let's say that you are a therapist in British Columbia and you make $90,000 in private practice. That's just money coming in. Your tax bill is going to be $24,000. If you are diligent and good at setting money aside, this isn't going to be a problem, but if you've spent everything you've earned, you're going to find yourself in a very uncomfortable and stressful situation. So just imagine doing your taxes in February or March and realizing you've got to pay CRA $24,000 by the end of April. Like, holy shit. So definitely, please put 25% of the money you earn in a savings account just for taxes and do not touch it. So to recap, here again are the 7 reasons why you may hate working in private practice. It can be lonely. Clinical support can be hard to come by. The space is likely going to be business oriented and not maybe therapy oriented. You'll have to wear many different types of business ownership hats. Your income will be different week to week. The bills won't pause when you're not working. And finally, tax season can be very stressful if you do not plan for it. Since you've made it this far, why don't you give this video a thumbs up? It will help others find this information. And go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos. If you found this video interesting, check out this video here. I think you'll love it. Bye for now.